Hey there, it's Veronica, the Heart Dietitian. I just came back from a client appointment, and this client had come to me, a registered dietitian, to help them lower their blood pressure naturally, right, without medication. And so I discussed 5 ways to reduce their blood pressure with them, and I thought I'd share these strategies with you too. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Veronica, a registered dietitian specializing in heart disease. So, I help individuals lower their cholesterol, their blood pressure, inflammation with food to prevent a heart attack or a stroke. So, since we're talking all about blood pressure today, there is actually a lot of strategies that can help lower our blood pressure or manage our blood pressure. And one being diet and lifestyle. So, diet or nutrition, there's actually a specific type of diet pattern out there that can help lower our blood pressure. It's called the DASH diet. So, DASH is an acronym, it stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. And it's presented here. So it's the shape of a pyramid. We want to be eating most of the foods at the bottom of the pyramid more often than the foods at the top of the pyramid. So what makes up the bottom of the pyramid are those lovely fruits and vegetables. There are quite a number of servings of fruits and vegetables in this diet pattern. They recommend 8 to 10 a day. So that's pretty significant. A lot of individuals in North America are probably having 2, maybe 3 vegetables and fruits a day. So we do need to increase this quite a lot. When you are eating to lower your blood pressure, you want to make sure there's color on your plate at every meal and every snack, and that will ensure that you are getting some of these fruits and vegetables. Why do we need fruits and vegetables? Well, they're very rich in micronutrient called potassium. Potassium is a mineral that does the exact opposite of sodium in our body. So you may have heard that you need to restrict sodium to lower blood pressure. Well, if we increase potassium through food, not supplements, through food, it can actually have the same effect. It can help lower our blood pressure, manage our blood pressure, which is very cool. So potassium is found in our vegetables, our fruit. Adding them to each of our meals is a fantastic way to lower our blood pressure. Next is whole grains. So carbohydrates are included in this dietary pattern. Again, something to include at each of your meals. It does provide our body with energy. We do want them to be higher fiber whole grains. So things like whole grain bread or steel cut oats instead of instant oatmeal, barley, quinoa, buckwheat, lots of different options for whole grains, but we want them to be whole grains and not processed because the whole grain contains more of these nutrients that can help lower our blood pressure. So we talked about potassium. There is a little bit of potassium found in whole grains too, but also magnesium is a good source that can also help to relax our blood vessels, which helps the blood flow through our blood vessels a lot more efficiently, and that will help to manage our blood pressure. So whole grains at each meal. Then we do want to have a low fat protein. This is a low fat, low sugar diet. So having lean sources of meat and fish or introducing some beans and legumes, some plant-based proteins can really help to keep the fat low in this kind of eating pattern. And then, as I mentioned, it's very low sugar. So trying to satisfy that sweet tooth with more fresh fruits, right? We do want to try to include 8 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables. So adding more of those fruits instead of reaching for maybe a cookie or processed food that's not offering some of these nutrients we're looking for can be helpful to kind of meet the guidelines for the day. So that's strategy 1. It's all about following the DASH diet and adding foods, making sure you're eating enough foods. Okay, it's not about restriction. It's not about reducing sodium. It's about including more whole foods, more plant foods into your daily life. And that's going to offer you more nutrients to strengthen your heart, to help strengthen your blood vessels for your blood to flow through your body and without less pressure. And then it's going to help your heart not work as hard. So that's strategy number 1 is diet. So, strategy number 2 is to exercise or engage in physical activity. It doesn't have to be like sweat pouring exercise, but making sure that you are exercising your heart muscle, you're breathing a little bit heavy can be helpful to strengthen our heart, right? Our heart can move and work more efficiently when it's strengthened. And the guidelines for physical activity is 150 minutes of exercise every week, and that can be split up easily. You could do it for 5 days a week and half an hour each day. It could be a walk, when the weather's nice, maybe a walk, a bike ride. It could be going for a swim. There's lots of different options. I always recommend finding something that you enjoy doing. So don't just do it for the sake of doing it. Try to find something that brings you joy, because you'll be more likely to and more motivated to do it. Another way to increase motivation is to maybe have a friend to engage in physical activity with you, right? 150 minutes of exercise every week is kind of a guideline for everyone, not just individuals who are trying to lower their blood pressure, but everybody. So trying to get a friend, a family member, even a child on board can be helpful to just be healthier, live a longer life, and to lower our blood pressure. Number 3 is to manage stress. So everybody has stress. It's just something that's going to happen in everybody's life. We all have seasons of it, some higher, some lower, but stress happens. So one, we need to recognize stress is happening. And then two, we need to have some management strategies when stress occurs. So why does stress impact our blood pressure? Well, think about back in the hunter-gatherer days when we were presented with a lion or a tiger and our body needed to run away from it, right? Or attack it. Well, it's a big stress. And what happens is our body kind of provides all of our energy to fight that. It releases extra hormones and depletes some of the other things that it needs for regular use, because it's trying to fight this stress, right? This is immediate danger. If we don't help this, if we don't run away from this tiger, we're not going to live. So let's put all of this, our energy, into this, fighting the stress, right? Unfortunately, nowadays we don't have a tiger, we have stress, and it's more chronic stress. It lasts for a really long time. And that's when we really get depleted of a lot of our minerals and energy sources. So having this, being in this state of stress can really increase our blood pressure, put more stress on our artery walls, put more stress on our heart. And so managing stress, sleeping well can be very, very beneficial to managing our blood pressure. So finding strategies that work for you. It could be meditation. It could be a simple box breathing. That's something that I do often with my clients. Box breathing exercises where you breathe in for 4, you hold for 4, then you release for 4, and then you hold for 4. And this could be done, a cycle for a minute or 2 minutes, however long you have. I know we don't have a lot of time to incorporate this. So trying to find like moments in your day when you can incorporate it. Maybe you're washing dishes. Maybe you're at a red light. Just kind of instances that could trigger you to then practice this state of mindfulness, to kind of communicate with your body to say, hey, I'm not in a stressful state. Let's relax. And that way we won't be as tensed and we'll have a lower blood pressure as a result. So I do encourage you to find some kind of a de-stressor that works for you, and also to provide some regular self-care for you as well, so that your glass is full when some kind of stress arrives. You're not kind of going on empty at that time. Number 4 is to reduce alcohol as well as smoking. Both of those things have been shown to increase our blood pressure after we consume them. So trying to reduce them or eliminate them can be helpful. Often you have to kind of think about why you're consuming those products. And when I do talk to my clients about it, they often say, well, it's because I deserve it or I need a break. And so trying to find alternative activities that can help provide that same release, de-stressing, can be helpful to, help reduce stress, but then also to remove the alcohol and the smoking that could be increasing your blood pressure as a result. I know it's easier said than done, but something to consider. And lastly, the fifth strategy is actually to monitor your blood pressure. So take a look, get a blood pressure monitoring machine, um, and monitor what's happening to your blood pressure throughout the day. It's not something that we can actually feel a lot of the time. Sometimes we can, but a lot of the time we are distracted and engaged in other activities that we're not really monitoring our blood pressure. So having a blood pressure tracker and actually, seeing what's happening in your body when you wake up, after you eat, after you have if you have a nap, or maybe you engage in those box breathing exercises, what happens to your blood pressure? So monitoring at different times, at different points of the day, different points of stress, can be helpful just as an awareness exercise to really understand what's happening in your body. And then also, it can help to understand some of the strategies that we put in place. So, if you do eat your 8 to 10 servings of vegetables and fruit in a day, does it decrease your blood pressure? And if you see that when you're monitoring your blood pressure, you're more likely to engage in that activity going forward because you know the result of it. You know how much it has an impact of it. And so you're more likely to do it. So, actually getting a monitor machine and monitoring at different times. It's not something you have to do every day, all day long, but just take a day or two and really dive into the details to see what's happening, and then implement some strategies that we just talked about to see if any of these strategies could help you manage your blood pressure naturally. So I hope that helps provide 5 different ways to help manage your blood pressure without medication. If you try any, or if you have any of your own that you think are successful, comment below. I'm sure everyone would love to hear from you and learn new strategies that can help you all achieve the same goal of lower blood pressure. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.